I was asked to be here as to give you another perspective. I want to give you the view of the youth. And first of all, I'd like to start and share my personal story with you. So I come from Tyrol, which is in the west of Austria, in the mountains. And where I live, there's a forest. I've been playing in this forest since I was a child. And I've always been there. It's my favorite place, I guess. And as I grew older, I noticed, by the way, that there were more and more projects that made developments in this forest. It was chopped down for either industry or houses, privates. And it took me 19 years to realize that this bite by bite eating up the forest is going to lead to the absolutely destruction of the whole site, and that it will not last very much longer until it will all be gone. And so I informed myself. I was the 19-year-old who was also, when I was 18, starting to study at Vienna, so which is 500 kilometers away from home, right here. And I informed myself, and I found out that the politics, the local politics, want to engage even more in development in the forest. Because the popular view of the people who have the power in our community are the ones who say this is a non-precious forest, we can chop it down. But in fact, this is not just a forest, that's also another thing I found out. I knew I knew by my heart that this was a beautiful place, but in my research, I found out that half of it is under nature protection. I didn't know there was a nature protection site until I was 18, and half of it is under nature protection because it's a very ecological, valuable place. It's in the valley, and it has grown on a landslide that has come from the mountains, and there are pine trees growing there, and so there has been struggles from conservationists, from nature conservationists to get this under protection, but why, I don't know, only half of it is under protection. And the part where I live is the one that is not protected and is constantly being chopped down, although there is scientific knowledge that this is a precious piece of land. And this is the very last precious piece of land in the whole valley. And so I decided to just do something about it. And me and a friend of mine, we started a People's Initiative. We launched a website, we did a petition, we tried to inform people, and suddenly everything came to rolling. On my 20th birthday, a reporter came to my place and interviewed me, and I was then on the newspaper, on the front of every newspaper that was brought to all the houses. I was really flashed sometimes. It was much for, I mean, I'm young and I can take it, but it was very, it was really good experience, good practical experience also for my studies. And it's been really, really, really interesting engaging myself in nature conservation. And I'm really into this field, and I really feel a strong connection to nature. But what I experience as well is that there are major problems, not only on local level, but worldwide, that hinder us from doing what we want to do. And so if you have seen the performance today morning maybe, about how we, the Generation Earth team, said, give us the chance. I also want to say shortly about that. I feel inspired by the fact that I was given the chance to talk here to you. I'm having my ups and downs, and it's really hard, this work sometimes, because it's lots of work and it's lots of responsibility on my young shoulders. And but it really is inspiring if somebody comes up to you and says, hey, we want to hear your opinion. So that's not the only thing I want to tell you about the perspective of youth. It was my personal one. But what I really want to share with you is as I didn't realize how much wood is being lost all the time, I would like you, or especially maybe the elder ones of you, to rethink how much nature was there when you were my age and how much is left now. I think we need to make a point where we stop devastating more and more nature and where we really try to protect the few we have left. Because when I am your age or elder, I don't want to look back and think, oh yeah, there was still some left and now it's all gone. And I mean, how are my children seeing this then? I have read a book of one of my favorite authors, it's Jostein Gaarder, it's called Noah's World. And it plays, I think, in a few hundred years ahead. And there is this girl who is always watching documentations of the nature. And this is the only source where she can still see intact nature and ecosystems. And this is a very, very sad idea, and I really hope that it don't come that far. So, making a connection to the Natura 2000 fitness check. As we all know, this is a check to see if the Natura 2000 is fit for purpose and everything. But there is serious concern of NGOs that the redefining of this Natura 2000 and what stands behind it, the opening to changes will eventually lead to weakening. It will lead to setting through economic interests above ecological interests. We know this already. There's very, very strong economic interests that that have their struggles with nature conservation because, of course, it's like in my forest. There was a meat-producing company, and they wanted to jot down 10 hectares for a new company. But we made it public, we talked about it, we involved the media, and now this company has said, no, we're not going there. And we're going to another place because we don't want the problems with the locals, we don't want the problems and the bad press and everything. But this is just a small example, and unfortunately one of the few examples where nature conservation could win over economic interests. All in all, what I experienced not only in this, but also in my environmental engagement and also in my studies. I study biological and environmental resource management. And as I study resource management, to me it's clear that endless growth is not possible on a limited place, a limited world with limited resources. And personally, I think it don't take a study to know this. It's just common sense to me. And I really think that we all should rethink how we put economic interests above ecological interests. And I just wanted to give you the idea that we as a youth, we are sick of hearing we want a good GDP for our future and everything. What we as a future generation want is also intact nature and intact world where we can live. And I think that the system that we have lived in, that has gone all the past decades, this has led us to the upcoming catastrophe that we will have to deal with. So I think that this whole system we're in needs to be rethought more profoundly, more from above. Not just deal with the symptoms, but really rethink the basic of it. And if I would just like to say that putting economic interests above social and ecological interests is not only not sustainable, it's not about this word. This word it's just a word. It's about the well-being of us and the well-being of future generations. And I would really like to ask you not to weaken the very few protections we still have for nature, for our future generations. Thank you.